Hey everyone, tonight we're diving into Straw, a film that pulls you into a world where desperation blurs into delusion, and a quiet, determined mother becomes the most unpredictable person in the room. You're about to step into a tense government office where clocks tick louder than compassion, where red tape strangles real lives, and where one woman's final straw sets off a chain reaction no one sees coming. It's a thriller. Yes, but it's also a slow-burning cry for help wrapped in steel gray realist. Meal feel the tension mount, the walls close in, and a growing dread that what you're watching might not be what's really happening at all. And yeah, you probably won't make it to the end with dry eyes. So before we jump in, hit that like button and subscribe, but only if you're into late night breakdowns with a cinematic twist. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I love seeing how far this little movie club reaches. Dim your lights, grab your headphones, and let's step inside this movie together. You see her now, flustered, tight-lipped, marching up the steps of a city building with fluorescent lights flickering above the glass doors. Her name is Mia, though you won't hear it for a while. Her daughter's asthma meds have run out again, and once again the system, cold, bureaucratic, unfeeling, has failed to deliver. Inside, the office hums with the last traces of the workday, phones ringing out into silence. A janitor's mop squeaks down the hallway. The receptionist offers a half smile that wilts before it lands. You feel the frustration simmering off Mia's skin as she explains, pleads, and eventually demands help, but she's too late. The caseworker's gone, the files are closed, come back tomorrow. They say that's the moment everything shifts. You follow her eyes as they scan the room. The fire alarm, the locks, the exits. The shot lingers just long enough for you to realize something's not right. She pulls a gun, not wildly, not in a rage, but with eerie precision, like she's rehearsed this in her mind 1,000 times. In the empty hours between panic attacks and unpaid bills, you hear people scream, others freeze. A young intern drops her phone, the office becomes a cage, and Mia, the reluctant zookeeper, makes demands, but not wild ones. She wants media, she wants attention, she wants someone, anyone, to explain how a mother trying to keep her child alive ends up drowning in forms and phone menus. The camera stays close, intimate. It doesn't flinch from her trembling hand or the fear flickering behind her fury. You're not just watching her. In the room with her, Straw isn't interested in traditional thriller tropes. There's no slick FBI agent pacing outside with a megaphone, no ticking clock or countdown to explosion. Instead, it leans into claustrophobia, the slow drip of time, the unbearable stillness between breaths, and it works. Director Tyler Perry uses long takes and low lighting to build a mood that feels more like a waking dream than a movie. There's a reason some fans call it Dog Day Afternoon meets Moonlight. The style is quiet, but the tension, it screams as the night unfolds. You meet the hostages one by one, a jaded social worker, a pregnant office manager, a retired cop doing part-time security. Each brings a little more weight to the room, more tension, more history, more quiet judgments. About Mia's choices, you notice how the film keeps returning to the same shot, Mia standing in front of the windows, silhouetted by the city behind her. It's not just beautiful, it's symbolic. She's trapped between transparency and reflection, between how she sees herself and how the world sees her. At one point, a news reporter calls her mentally unstable. You see Mia hear it through the live stream, and her face just breaks. No tears, just the slow, silent folding in of a woman who knows she's already lost the narrative. But then something strange happens. The world around her begins to shimmer, not visually, at least not at first, but in the script, the dialogue, which starts to slip. You hear her repeat a phrase she hasn't said before, then hear it echoed later by someone else. You notice the camera lingering on a hallway that doesn't quite connect where it should. It's subtle, like a thread unraveling in the background, and then suddenly she's talking to someone who isn't there, a child. You assume it's her daughter. You feel her voice soften, almost hypnotically, but when the camera swings back, the chair is empty. A real-world fact. In many psychological thrillers, especially post-2010, filmmakers often use physical geography to reflect mental instability. From Black Swan to Joker, directors blur walls and space to signal inner collapse. Straw joins that tradition with quiet confidence. A fan theory circulating Reddit suggests that office layout itself shifts subtly between acts. Doors that were there in one scene are missing in another. It's never confirmed, but if you read, the unease grows. You hear a thud, a hostage has fainted. Mia hesitates, clearly not wanting to hurt anyone, but then she whispers something you barely catch. This isn't how it was supposed to go. Some critics still argue whether what she's referring to is the protest, the day, or her whole life. A light joke slips in when the intern, trying to stay calm, mutters, "I didn't even update my LinkedIn for this job." The tension breaks for a beat and then tightens again. The police outside try to contact her. You don't hear their words, just the low crackle of a radio and the high-pitched hum of Mia's breath. She doesn't respond. Then we flash back, just a few seconds, a dreamlike memory, her daughter, running through a field, coughing, collapsing. The camera zooms in not on the child but on Mia's shoes, stuck in the mud, unable to reach her in time. It's painful, beautiful, wordless. You begin to realize maybe this isn't a hostage story at all, it's a grief story. The camera pulls back again. Mia stands alone in the middle of the office. Everyone else is pressed against the walls. You see her slowly lower the gun, but her hands don't unclench it. You know, deep in your gut, that something worse is still coming. The night is darker now. Outside and inside are still in the office. But the mood has shifted. Softer, stranger. Mia's grip on the world around her and inside her has started to slip. The fluorescent lights flicker like dying thoughts. The windows, once reflective, are now opaque with condensation. Like the fog inside her mind has pressed up against the glass. She's speaking to someone again, a child's voice, gentle, curious. Did you bring my medicine this time? You follow the camera, unsure where to look. The hostage workers glance at one another. Confused, no one hears the voice but Mia. She answers it. Though she always does, the room feels like a stage now. Each character hitting their marks in an invisible play. Mia's directing in her mind. The furniture has shifted again, or maybe the angles have, you're not sure. And neither is she. That's the terrifying beauty of Straw. It doesn't scream at you. It whispers until your certainty erodes. A pregnant pause, then a real one. Mia collapses in the break room, not from violence, but from exhaustion, mental, emotional, physical. She curls into herself like a question mark. Someone dares to reach out. A woman who earlier had called Mia unstable now. She just says, "Do you want to sit up?" And Mia replies, "I want to go home, but you know," and she knows that home doesn't exist the way it used to. This is when the movie reveals its hand. A caseworker recognizes Mia from an old file, not the one about medication, but the one about custodian. Suddenly, everything reframes. Mia's daughter didn't run out of meds. She didn't get ignored. She's gone, not in the tragic sense you feared, but placed elsewhere. Adopted, protected from the chaos of Mia's unraveling mind, maybe even years ago, but Mia never let go, never accepted. She kept showing up to appointments, clinging to the idea that her daughter was just out of reach. It wasn't a lie, it was a fracture. The film never gives us the full diagnosis. Smartly, labels would cheapen this instead. It gives us fragments, journal pages, a voicemail with dates that don't line up, a drawing pinned to the back of a receipt. Each detail deepens your empathy while turning the mystery key further. Tyler Perry, best known for broad comedies and family dramas, took inspiration for Straw from real-life accounts of post-traumatic dissociation. In interviews, he described the film not as a thriller but a grief chamber, where every wall reflects your worst fears, and that's what this becomes. A chamber not of horror but of heartbreak. One scene is especially haunting. Mia is left alone. Just briefly, she wanders into a cubicle and sees a child's crayon drawing taped to the wall. It's not her daughter's, it can't be, but for a moment, she believes it is. You hear her whisper, "That's my baby," and then, quietly, "She still needs me." Your stomach knots, your throat tightens, not because the movie is manipulating you, but because it's telling the truth in the only language. Mia understands delusion as devotion. A behind-the-scenes tidbit. That crayon drawing, it was actually drawn by Taraji P. Henson's real-life niece, and the director chose not to show it to Henson until the take. That's why her reaction feels so painfully real, because it was. The hostages begin to understand one by one. They stop seeing Mia as a threat and start seeing her as something else, not innocent but not evil. You hear one of them whisper, she thinks this is the only way she can be a mother again, and they're not wrong. There's one final negotiation. The police offer a trade. Drop the weapon, come outside, and they'll bring someone to speak with her. Mia agrees, but only if she can hear her daughter's voice. A pause. The negotiator complies. He plays a voicemail recorded, emotionless. Official Maya listens, and you watch her face fall apart in silence. That's the climax. Not gunfire, not bloodshed, just a mother realizing that the child she's been holding onto exists only in ego. Some critics still argue whether the ending is real or part of Mia's delusion. The whole way she walks down the light at the end, the child she thinks she sees, it doesn't matter, because in the end, she lets go. She steps forward, lowers the weapon, opens the office doors, not just for the police, but for herself. It's not a surrender, it's an ending. She finally chooses. The final shot lingers, a wide frame. The office is empty again, quiet. The lights stay on, buzzing. The world goes back to normal, but you don't. A straw leaves you inside Mia's skin. Her silence, her broken narrative stitched together with love, fear, and one irreversible choice. And now, you know, this wasn't a thriller, this was a goodbye.